Good evening, Internet, and welcome to Top Shift 43, or in this case, Powerplay. Now, the Powerplay beta has now been released for Elite Dangerous, and we're now up to beta 3 of it as of the 28th of May. And what you can see now is the external view of one of the new ships, the Diamondback. Now, this is a very tough little ship. Not as big as a Cobra, but looks very brutal. And if you can look in carefully here, you'll see a pilot. They've finally added people into the front seat, which is good to see. It felt like you were flying ghost ships before. But this is, as I say, one of the new ships. Looks a bit like a bumblebee. The other ship is the Imperial Courier. Now, there's a little bit of controversy over the Imperial Courier. A lot of people who played the original Frontier have said that it's not the same. It's not the same expected ship. And I agree with them. It's not the same ship because, like the Adder, it's been repurposed. It looks absolutely fantastic, I must admit. The Imperial Courier looks a bit like a really sleek White Star from Babylon 5. But, apart from the two ships, there are a whole lot of extra functions put in as well. We have new drone functionality, which means you can transfer fuel between other people's ships and go and rescue them if they run out of fuel. Or there's cargo drones, which will help you scoop cargo better. All of those come under limpids. Oh, and of course, mining drones, which will help scoop up tons and tons of cargo. So if you're in a big ship like an Anaconda or a Type 9, you're not darting about the place using your cargo scoop to try and pull things up. But, of course, the big thing about Powerplay is the new factions, and allow me to show you. Oh, look at this. I've got this is a known bug in the beta at the moment. I had a 150 credit fine from the Pilots Federation for shooting in a no-fire zone. And even though I've paid it, it hasn't cleared. It's something that Frontier know about. It's on their to-do list. But that means I've got 4 days and 22 hours before that turns into a bounty. And once it turns into a bounty, then you can guarantee every player on the planet will be after me. Anyway, galactic powers. Now, I've aligned myself with this gentleman here, Edmund Mahon, who is effectively the president of the Alliance. Now, at the moment, there are 10 factions within the beta. There's supposed to be 20 when it goes live, and we've got no idea who the other 20 are. So as you can see, we've got 1, 2 Federation, 3, 4 Empire, 1 Alliance, and 3 Independents. Now, each of these will have specific advantages if you buy into them. For instance, if we go to Mr. Hudson here, you will see that he's got Galactic Standing 1, which means that he is effectively the most powerful person in Powerplay at the moment. Now, there's a whole load of other stats and functions which I'll probably go into at a later time. This is just to give you a taster. And there are 3 phases to something in Powerplay. You've got preparation, where you are making preparations to take over a system on this person's behalf, and you can see here that President Hudson prefers to use combat in his preparation stakes. And same for expansion, which is when he's trying to increase his influence on other people, or rather increase his influence over other systems. And finally, there's control, and again, combat. So he's quite. If you like a good fight, then there's Zachary Hudson for you. Now, he's 83 and in the Federation, but in the year of 3300, or 3301 rather. Is that really a problem, 83? Might be the new 30 as far as we're concerned. But with all these different factions, each of these different stages in Powerplay are handled either by trade or diplomacy or combat. Now if you pledge to him, you earn ratings by running missions for him. And at this point, the more you've got to actually rerun these missions every week in order to maintain the same amount of influence. Now, the thing about this is that this is a bit like dailies in an MMO. So you come, I don't know if anybody's played World of Warcraft or SOTOR, but in those cases there are dailies which you can come back and earn gear and get more important abilities. But the more merits that you gain and the longer you stay with the faction, then you start getting more important special equipment. For instance, if you look at rating 3, so basically you've been with these people for 5 iterations or so, and you've managed to get 100 merits unlocked in the last week, then you could buy a Pacifer Frag A cannon, large fragmentation cannon with the decreased damage but an increased range and a tighter spread after 4 weeks aligned with the power. So that's a good shredder if you've knocked someone's shield down. So there are a whole load of other missions. So what we'll do is we'll come out of Mr. Hudson, and what we'll show you is the effect this has happened on the galaxy map. As you can see here, the galaxy map's looking a little bit busier. Now that's because at the moment we've got these markers here showing you whereabouts on your present plane you've got stars. So it's easier. It's supposed to be easier to find other stars. I'm not so sure at the moment. Take off the grid and then you get close back to what we've got before. And you can see the extra things such as star names. We'll take off the region names. And I will leave them on, but take the constellations off. And the nebula names, because otherwise these things get really, really cluttered really fast. So you've got a new view. So you've got realistic, the map view, which shows you what your old status was. So here you can tell that we're in the Alliance. And also if you look, 78 Ursa Majoris, that was previously a federal system. And due to a whole load of stuff that's been going on in game, i.e. the federal president going missing, that system has flipped over to the Alliance. And you can see here, there's not that many federal systems near Alioth anymore. They've all seemed to have moved. Now, as of this moment, the map has the same functionality as it had before, so you can plan your routes and show what goes where. The closest federal system is there, Shalanig, which is a refinery system. Now, as I scroll out, you can see the different colours. And you can also see where human space ends, because that's where the colours stop. So that is a tiny amount of the galaxy. There are thousands of systems in there, sure enough, but still. Meanwhile, we'll go back to Alioth. Right, now the next thing to see. Now this is the Powerplay map. Now it shows you exactly which of these factions are in control of what. So you can see here that Edmund Mahon has got basically the whole of the Alliance under his belt, which is quite quite impressive. But if you look down here, you'll see all the others. So the massive amount of federal influence, obviously from Winters there, and all the other factions. So you can see that there's a whole spread of information that's just been added to the map. And again, there is a whole load of extra functionality which will take time to get used to. So for instance, these are the systems that are available for preparation or expansion. So you can run missions based on what you want into those systems so that you can gain more influence within your faction. And finally, control. Now we are in one of the control systems, which is Aliath. So click the system power view so you can actually go to Aliath. You can see it's fortifying. You go collect Alliance Legitist records from this system and deliver them to our contact and gateway to fortify Aliath. So I think we'll have to do that. I don't know how we do that. But that's what it tells you to do. So let's go to gateway. Contacts, and now you have a power contact. Now, fortify Aliath. So, we'll do that. Collect all the Alliance legislative records. Back to the main page. Now, that's used up 8 of all my cargo space, effectively. So I've now got to set course to gateway. So, galaxy map. Back to navigation. Fastest route. Gateway. Now, one of the things that is really useful in this new build is that if you go into the system map, you then see you can then select each of these items and plot a course directly there. And on top of that, it will show you how far away these space stations are away from where you arrive at the system. So that's 6,500 light seconds. So that'll take about 5 minutes to get to. So that's Alliance. That's Independent. Gateway Nationalists, and that's Alliance. So, if you look here, you'll see the headquarters of Edward Mahoon at Gateway. Interesting. Right, so that's where we're going. So, plot a route. We go back. We will see we have a jump of 2. Which is quite good. I just want to double check that. To our contact in Gateway to fortify the system. So obviously it's anybody in Gateway if you've got a power contact there. So let's head out to Gateway. Now, one of the things that... Hang on. LHS 2637 is an Alliance dictatorship. I thought the Alliance weren't supposed to have dictatorships. So, welcome to the Diamondback. Now this is the Lacan equivalent of the Cobra.
Ship released. Engines engaged.
And you can hear those engine noises. They're absolutely lovely. You can tell that Frontier have really gone to town on working this out. And this ship is very manoeuvrable compared to what I've been flying. I think it's certainly up there with the Vulture as far as manoeuvrability is concerned. Maybe a little tighter.
Landing gear retracted. Scan detected.
Right, it seems that LHS 2637 is behind me. Ah, there we are. So, let's have a quick look. And there's the Diamondback passing by by Aliath. You can see the chaff launcher at the back there, that's quite cool. There we have it. It's a stubby little thing, very brutal. If you look at the Imperial Courier, it's got sleek lines. It sounds... This thing sounds like a proper diesel, massive, powerful engine. The Imperial Courier sounds like a sleek electric-powered thing. You know, the equivalent of listening to a diesel locomotive and an electric locomotive, I think. Oh, we're being scanned. Right. Time to jump.
Frameshift drive charging.
251 I'm using A-rated thrusters here because it's the beta, but 251 at 2 pips, that's faster than a Cobra is. And it's more manoeuvrable. And it has the same armament.
1. Engage.
What it doesn't have, however, is the same flexibility with its module slots. But if you want a cheap bounty hunter, or a fantastically good exploring craft, this is it. Oh good, I have got a fuel scoop. I forgot about that.
Fuel scooping complete.
Now, is there a nav point? We could go to a nav point. Oh look, here we've got some extra things to look at. We've got high intensity resource extraction sites. Now, there is a difference between high intensity and normal, and that is that you've got more chance of getting something really, really good at a high intensity resource extraction site. But you could run the risk of running into a lot more pirates. So it's basically the mining equivalent of the conflict zones. You got high intensity and low intensity. Yet to give that a try, but apparently mining has been not revolutionized, but given a helping hand with the new drones and this stuff. So hopefully when I get to the nav beacon, I'll find some wanted nasty people and be able to demonstrate the combat capabilities of this ship. So everybody is talking about Powerplay on the forums. Like I said, there's a bit of disquiet that the Imperial Courier isn't as good for people as it was in Frontier. Right. Deploy weapons. Now I've had to make some changes to the X55 in order to get this to work. Let's have a look. Right, I've got a K-warrant scanner. Type 6 transporter. Mostly harmless and clean. Oh, hello. Oh, he's fine, but he is shooting at something, that vulture. He's wanted, right. And there's a wing of vultures, so... Well, let's see how we do. Right, one thing I'm going to show off at the moment. Oh. Yeah. Is I have now, as you can see, got hold of an ED tracker, so I can now track my targets. Come here, you. Now, let me guess this right, because the power plant for a vulture is its weak point. So if I can get this... Bang, bounced off me there. Oh, he's down at 3%. Almost got him. Yes, right. Oh, just out of ammo at the wrong moment. But... Boom, 200 credit. 200 credits, that all? There's another diamond back there. Yeah, he's clean. So who's he shooting at? Another diamond back there. Now he is wanted. What's he wanted with? He's doing alright at 63%. I could... That'll do. Switch back to multi-cannons. Still not used to the head tracking, personally. And if you see me looking down all of a sudden, that will probably be because I'm just checking my controls. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Now, I've had the ED tracker for a couple of weeks now, and I must admit, I prefer it over the...
Frameshift charge detected.
Oh, no, you don't. Ah, pants, he made it. That's a missed bounty and a half. Right. There's someone still flying about here with the combat on. Oh, Cobra Mark III, who is definitely wanted. Ah. Right. Now, the other advantage the Diamondback has over the Cobra Mark III is its weapon placements. They're a lot closer together. Giving you a better field of fire. Oof, he's a bit close. Now, one of the advantages that the head tracker gives you is that it helps you predict where the ships are, because you can see what their heading is. Now, I didn't think it would give you that much of an advantage. But I'm pleased to say it does. Yay! Right. So we'll just have a quick look at our transactions. 400 credit bounty here. Oh, is that all? Only 400 credits? I thought it said it was 8,000. Oh, it's 8,000 credit bounty in the Empire. That's why the bounty in the Empire suddenly jumped up from 3,000 to 11,000. That's a long way off to claim that. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, back to Gateway. Oh. Right, galaxy map. Right. So, that's it set. 18.9 light years. And stuck behind the sun. Oh well. Right, I'll switch off the head tracking now because otherwise it makes you feel a bit giddy after a while. Right.
Frameshift drive charging.
So as you can see, the Diamondback handles very well in combat.
1. Engage.
Not as good as a Vulture, I'd say, because the Vulture's still got those two massive Class 3...
Fuel scooping complete.
yeah, two massive Class 3 hardpoints. Oh. Hang on a moment. Where's Gateway gone? There we go. That's interesting. Gateway's not appearing on my list. I wonder if it's out of jump range.
Frameshift drive charging.
Well, seem to be jumping okay here.
2. 1. Engage.
I'll be going into the ED tracker thing, how to set it up, how to have it working with Elite Dangerous, probably in the next one, because everybody else has probably had one of these for absolutely ages, but I've only just recently discovered voice attack and its ability to link these things called voice packs, and there's one called Astra, which I bought a couple of days ago, and I'll be starting to use that soon.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Right, so system map. Now this is the other thing which is really useful. Always wanted to do this. So, arrival point, select that, and hopefully, there you are, New Chernobyl is now selected on my nav point. Now you used to be able to do that in Frontier and First Encounters, and that little bit of functionality I really did miss. So that's it. It's back in 1.3, and I'll be using that an awful lot. I'd just like to point out thanks to everybody who gave us nice feedback about the trip out to Kepler 86. That was really nice. Everybody else seems to be going to Sagittarius A, which is the black hole in the centre of the galaxy. Now that takes absolutely months to get to. And yes, there was even rumours of a commander out there who was taking out other players when they got there, which is a pretty nasty form of griefing. In other news, I'm still working my way through Wanted, Elite Dangerous Wanted. That's had to take a back seat due to personal issues and having to work a lot of overtime. That's one of the reasons why there hasn't been as many top shifts lately as I'd like, or even why I've been on Lave Radio, because I think everybody has been pretty busy with their with real life, which kind of gets in the way, annoyingly. So, I know there's a lot of people who will be looking forward to LaveCon on the 11th and 12th of July. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. It's clashed with my daughter's birthday. So while everybody else will be enjoying themselves, and there'll be new episodes of a live reading from Dockers and all the kind of shenanigans that goes on there, I won't be able to make it, which in turn means that the Elite Miniatures game that I've got working won't be there either. I am looking at, there might be a possibility of turning up at Nine Worlds gaming convention with it, but we'll just have to wait and see. I should be able to make it to Fantasticon, which is over in Hull in October. So I'll bring the game along, the miniature game along there, and set up a miniature tournament. Oh, hello. Well, those two ships were fast. Pretty close. Don't know whether they're after me or not. Vipers. Alliance Enforcer. That's an Affaire de Lance Alliance Enforcer. And they're mostly harmless. But they're aligned with my faction, so I don't expect to have any trouble from them. This is the first time I've ever been to Gateway. Now, Gateway was one of the major systems in Frontier First Encounters. Now, it's good to see that it's got some prominence in this one. So like I say, the next Top Shift, I will be having a look at both how to work the ED tracker and also the voice attack with the integration with voice packs. That should be interesting. The other thing that you can do with the tracker is that you can actually watch the planets just float by. It's quite nice. Of course, because the head tracking comes up, so does the side panels. Oh, he's a bit close. Yeah, he's gone straight down there anyway. So, you see, this is me looking at my joystick, which of course matches to where the joystick is on the on the cockpit. I mean, that's quite nice. It kind of means that you've got the same kind of connection. You might get some disconnect, which if you look down too quickly, you don't see it. Right. Oh, you can hear the engine noise. Let's put it all into engines and shields. There you go. The engine noise is very, very different from any of the others. So, request docking.
Docking request granted.
And the cargo, you can see Alliance Legislative Records. There we are. And you'll also notice I am speeding according to that there. So that's a new thing as far as the Crime and Punishment is. There were far too many people effectively ramming other players out of the way. Now what happens is at the end of every cycle, or which is, I think it's set as a week, players get votes on what their faction is going to do next. So, oh, well, that's a bit rough. So we'll go to into the hangar. Bye-bye, spaceport. Oh, you can see the ships all flying up there. And around we go. Not as nice as Irsk. This is more an industrial hub. So, let's see how this has worked. Yeah, players get to vote on what they're going to do next. Obviously, the most merits and the more influence you have within your faction, the more that you are going to have influence over where that decision is. The thing is, like I was referring back to the dailies, you've got to keep on running these dailies at a certain rate in order to maintain that influence. The influence will degrade over time. And of course, you can defect to other factions, you can leave your faction and then a week later join another faction, and all that kind of thing comes in handy. Now, quickly, we'll go to here. Got no outstanding fines, no bounties that we can do, because that's one of the things that has disappeared, are system-wide or faction-wide bounties. So if you shoot down a bad pirate in one system, you've got to claim the bounty in that system. It's very rare these days that you get something like this ship is completely banned in the Empire, even though I just actually had one. So, deliver 8 registered records. So, I have just received 8 merits. Back to main page. So, there are a few full system statistics here. Now, what I've done here is basically help my faction. And you can see that this is the headquarters. It's got an income of 55 CC. Now, I'm not quite so sure what this. I know 1C will stand for credits, but I don't know what the C century credits or something. So, obviously, the more CCs you have in profit, the better your faction's standing is going to be. You'll be able to expand. However, if your faction starts going into negative numbers or negative profits, then it starts to lose influence. And other factions can force that to happen. So, it is kind of like a gigantic game of Risk, only you kind of choose. You take the place of one of the small pieces on the Risk game board. The difference being is you can choose where you move and what you do. The idea is that what you do will help your faction to achieve overall victory. So, this one's got a black market. I think that for the moment will cover most of what I want to do today. So, just see if there's anything decent in the shipyard. Oh no, this only had a Cobra 3, so we'll just leave them alone. But here you can see that I have a Cobra 3 in... What's a Cobra 3 doing there? Oh, of course, that's my good Cobra. That's over at Shinrata. And an Imperial Courier, which I had a muck about with as well. That was absolutely fantastic to fly. But not as good when it comes down to it as this. They've made a couple of tweaks to most of the ships, mostly with the shields, some of the maneuverability. Find a Cobra is probably slightly more maneuverable than an Asp these days. But apart from that, I'll be coming back to this at a later point, especially when it goes live, because I know that there's a lot of people who are going to go nuts. But as far as 1.3 is concerned, it adds an extra layer to the game, which, to be honest, I think it needed. I was getting to the point where I was getting bored of my Type 7. I was constantly doing trade runs from point A to point B. Now, a lot of other players got to that point a lot quicker than me. That this particular point where you're just going, oh God, I've got to grind so much to get to the next level of ship that that's the point when all the complaining started, saying there's nothing new to do. And I think this Powerplay will give people that thing to do. And personally, I wasn't really going to join in. I was going to stay as a lone wolf and stay off on the sidelines and see what happens. But after mucking about with it in the beta, I think I'm going to go in with jump in with both feet. Not quite so sure who with yet. We'll have to see what all the 20 factions are. But thank you for joining me, and good night.